Two high-profile cases coming to an end this past week. On Wednesday, British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of helping lure teenage girls to be sexually abused by the late Jeffrey Epstein. The verdict capped a month-long trial in which four women described being abused as teens in the 1990s and early 2000s, all of them claiming to have been groomed by Maxwell before they were forced to massage Epstein at one of his many homes. Maxwell faces the likelihood of decades behind bars, but may appeal her conviction. And a life-changing turn of events. Colorado's governor shortening the prison sentence for a truck driver convicted in a deadly crash. Rohel Aguilera Maderos was originally sentenced to 110 years for causing an explosive pileup in 2019 that killed 4 people. He was resentenced to 10 years in prison on Thursday following a public outcry. Allison Treasel is a criminal defense attorney and joins us now live to talk about both of these cases. Happy New Year to you, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the Maxwell trial. This was a big day for the dozens of women who never got to see Epstein pay for what he did and pay for his crimes. So the focus turned to her, and that really was the crux of her defense, right? That she was a scapegoat for Epstein's crimes, and if he were still alive, do you think that she would have faced the same charges and the same punishment that she's looking at now?
I absolutely do. And here's the thing. Her defense was not a very strong one because the conspiracy charges alone basically say, look, if you assisted and you committed one overt act, you didn't even need to commit the criminal offense because you were part of the conspiracy. But what Ghislaine Maxwell did for decades, and so when you talk about these victims not receiving justice, this was decades in the making. She not only groomed them, she recruited them, she enticed them. She was the madam here. And this jury, which comprised of 6 men and 6 women, felt that her alone, not as Epstein's scapegoat, but her alone was responsible for these crimes. And the girls talked about actual sexual abuse suffered at the hands of Miss Maxwell.
And she plans to appeal. She has that option. So the question now, right, is will she cooperate with the government? And if she does, will prosecutors bring down more of these people involved in this sex ring? Because it's clear that it wasn't just her. She had lieutenants, Maxwell did, and they all got that sweetheart deal from Alex Acosta, who was a prosecutor at the time in South Florida all those years ago.
Well, what's interesting is the question asked for me all weekend was, what if she wants to turn these big names, the alleged involvement of Prince Andrew or the alleged involvement of Donald Trump or the alleged involvement of Bill Clinton, what if she wants to turn on them now? I think it's probably too little too late, okay? That should have happened, if it was going to happen at all, before this case went to trial. This judge, she's looking at a maximum of 65 years. She's looking at 40 years alone for the sex trafficking. And these victims very much feel that she was as involved and as culpable as Jeffrey Epstein. And a lot of people, when you talk about this case, they say she was the linchpin that allowed it to happen. So Epstein had the money, but Maxwell had the connection. Some of these girls testified that they felt like they trusted her and she was like their mother. So I don't think anything she says now, once a jury has reached its verdict, is going to change the decades-long prison sentence, which I believe the judge is going to give her.
Okay, let's pivot now to the truck driver case out of Colorado. The governor of Colorado granting that commutation. He's called for an examination of the mandatory minimums in the state. Do you see any changes down the road in that regard?
Oh, I absolutely do. And, just to understand, there was 5 million people that signed petitions against this 110-year sentence. This was a case where both the judge and the prosecutor, I've been practicing criminal defense for 25 years. I've never had a situation where the prosecutor is the one that comes forward and says, I want to file a motion to reduce this person's sentence. Now, I've had occasion where we want to reduce the sentence. We think it's the right thing to do, and the prosecutor doesn't object or joins us. But here, both the prosecutor was asking for 20 to 30 years, and the judge both thought that this needed to be revisited. But this governor, he has pardoned and given clemency to a lot of non-violent offenses. The big batch of his pardons or his clemencies came with the marijuana charges. I think it was 2,700 people that he granted it to, but he's not somebody that gives away the farm. He's not somebody that grants a pardon or clemency on violent or serious cases like this. But he felt that this was such a unique circumstance. If our viewers will recall, this is a truck driver who claimed throughout all of this that his brakes had failed. Unfortunately, 4 people lost their lives. Many people were injured as a result of this crash. But it's a situation where the punishment was so arcane and it was so severe because of these mandatory minimum sentences that even the judge said, look, I have no choice, but I don't feel comfortable with it. So I think that the law really needs to reflect what is fair and just. So I do think there'll be changes in the law.
All right, Allison Treasel. And it's interesting, before I let you go, that the prosecutor who was urging, some mercy, which is really rare, was also the one who brought all of these, I think it was more than 40 charges in the first place.
Right. I mean, that's a very interesting thing, right? Is that the same person that's vigorously and zealously representing the state and wanting a conviction for all of these charges then turns around and says, whoa, 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 I wanted a conviction, but I didn't want them to spend the rest of their life in prison. So I think that that's a very interesting thing. And when you have the support of the prosecutors who are saying, we do think these cases should be prosecuted, we do think that these people should serve time for their offense, but this is very different than an intentional criminal act. This was a horrible tragedy, but it wasn't an intentional criminal act, and we need to be able to distinguish that in the criminal justice system.
All right, Allison, thank you so much for your time tonight. Appreciate having you. Happy New Year to you.
To you too. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.